A Company and SAS patrols had found no big units in that area, so the American warning lacked heavy proof.
D445 was in the Maytown Mountains at this time. We rehearsed the ambush with some of 275 Regiment, using a big sand model that we made. On the night of the 16th, we marched into Long Tan and deployed between the Long Tan Committee House and the middle of the rubber trees. In the pre-dawn darkness of the 17th of August, the 275 team fire on Nui Dat to decoy out the Australian patrol.
The bombs wounded SAS soldiers, engineers and artillerymen.
The problem was we were getting indications that these shells and mortars were being fired from all around us. I mean, if one believed all the reports coming in, we were being attacked from all sides.
When I went into the command post to start firing some counter-mortar missions, we had to prize about 20 people out of the command post. They were all trying to clamber in to get some protection.
Yeah, number 2 gun took a recoilless round in the sandbags that protected. I think it blew someone off the top of the bund at that particular time. There was a little bit of a concern that the enemy was a lot closer than first thought.
As the Viet Cong bombs rained in, the artillery's radar tried to pinpoint their firing positions. But, crazily, the radar showed the Viet Cong to be firing from 1,000 metres below sea level.
The radar was tracking a particular bomb for 2 or 3 seconds and then flicking off that bomb onto another stronger signal, and this is what happening. So the radar the radars were having a problem giving us any sort of location. In fact, they weren't giving us any locations.
As the bombs landed, the Australian base expected a massive Viet Cong attack out of the darkness. But no attack came. Using a pre-arranged firing plan, Australian artillery opened up towards the sound of the Viet Cong mortar primaries. The Viet Cong shelling suddenly stopped. It was the first defeat of the Viet Cong shoot and scoots.
In 1966, I was a medic in the Liberation Forces. On the 17th of August, I treated wounded from the 275 Regiment that had been shelling Nui Dat. The counter-bombardment hit them. The bodies of 3 of the recoilless rifle team were buried just north of here.
The Australians reacted immediately. A Viet Cong mortar attack from within the free fire zone could not be tolerated. So, while A Company sought the 275 radio east of Long Tan, B Company was sent out at first light to catch the Viet Cong mortar squad. A hopeless task. Again, for security, B Company was not told about the Viet Cong radio. B Company soon found the Viet Cong mortar positions. Blood trails and recent tracks led east. They followed these tracks, but they split, going north, east and south. B Company camped, ready to resume next day. The Australian base maintained its routine. A sudden attack was no longer expected. The intelligence summary for the 17th concluded, an attack on the task force is unlikely.
But also on the 17th of August, the main body of 275 Regiment arrives undetected at its position just north of the rubber trees of Long Tan. With D445 to the southeast, the trap is ready. If the Australians take the bait and come out, victory will be easy.
On the next day, the 18th of August, it seemed safe enough for pop singers Little Patty and Cole Joy to give the base its first concert. B Company resumed tracking the Viet Cong, but 2 of its 3 platoons were ordered back to base for a health break at Vung Tau Beach. The one remaining platoon of B Company was too small a force for safety, so D Company under Major Harry Smith was ordered to take over the job of tracking the Viet Cong. Smith, an ex-parachute instructor, had made D Company the fittest on the base. Smith was a veteran of the Malayan anti-communist campaign, as was his big, good-humoured Sergeant Major, Jack Kirby. Half of D Company's young conscripts had never seen action, nor had Smith's 3 platoon commanders. Most of Harry Smith's young officers and men had come to feel that the Viet Cong had decided to avoid the Australians and had left the province. But their sergeants were veterans, and their old soldiers' instinct told them that trouble was brewing. With D Company was the New Zealand artillery observer, Captain Maurice Stanley, and his radio operator, Bombardier Willie Walker. Stanley's role was crucial, for his radio provided artillery protection for the patrol. 4 Australian patrols were then east of Nui Dat. A Company, returning without finding a large force of Viet Cong, B and D Companies, and an SAS patrol farther east. B and D Companies met at 2 p.m, and Major Ford of B Company showed Harry Smith the Viet Cong mortar positions. The 32 men of B Company passed west through D Company's 108 soldiers, moving east. As D Company approached the edge of Long Tan rubber plantation, they could hear the Little Pattie concert. They felt that this was just another routine patrol. The Viet Cong would surely have been in the next province by then.
Well, we came up out of the Sui Dabang over a little rise, and there was a patrol moving from right to left across our front. I noticed the patrol that was coming across us, and they had white tape in their bush hats, and I just assumed that they were an Australian patrol that had sort of got out of the way.
A group of EC walked between the forward section and the platoon quarters. I saw the VC first and thought that's not right, and I opened up fire and recovered an AK-47.
The Viet Cong fled east into the rubber trees, leaving 1 dead. But no one at this stage realised he was a 275 Regiment Tiger, not a D445 farm dog.
When we heard gunfire to the west, we were surprised, for we thought the Australians had all returned to their base. We quickly prepared to fight. When the Australians were 50 metres away, we opened fire and advanced, using the terrain and the rubber trees as shields. We wanted to get close to the Australian troops to besiege them and to avoid their artillery, but the Australian troops fought back very fiercely.
Lieutenant Sharp called urgently for artillery support. Captain Stanley, not quite sure of Sharp's position, started to walk the artillery towards 11 platoon from a safe distance.
We were getting some pretty heavy fire at this stage. Once the second machine gun opened up, then everybody who was there opened up on us.
Some of the soldiers on the far extreme, on the extreme side of 6th section were yelling out that they were in the trees. And I directed the machine gunner in my section to put some spray, some ammunition up into the trees and see if we could find what was up there. It was at that point that we came under extreme fire.
On the general order, all of our forces had to advance towards the Australians. To hesitate would have caused many deaths from the Australian artillery. Our motto was, hug their belts, even when they are retreating. We besieged the Australians quickly from the north, south and east.
To see them advancing on us was not in our training manual, and it was, I suppose at that stage I thought, well, we're in a fair bit of shit here.